Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. On this episode, we are continuing on my grandpa's 1973 MGB. Hopefully by the end of the video, we will be driving it down the road. Sit back and enjoy the video. Last video, we tried to attempt to get this thing running just as it sat. And it actually popped off at the start, but after sitting a little bit, it sucked up a bunch of gunk from the tank and the carburetors really needed to get rebuilt. So I decided to pull off the carbs, get them professionally cleaned and rebuilt. There's a lot of different rebuild kits for these SU carbs and they're very expensive. So I thought I'd just bring it to a professional. He got them all cleaned up, and so now we're gonna go through the process of putting them back on. As you can see, we gotta remove the heat shield. There's gaskets on the inside and outside, and then you got these spacers that go on, and then there's a third gasket that goes on the very outside before you put the carburetors on. So I got a whole new set of those. So we're gonna basically get this heat shield all cleaned up. These gaskets are original and they're really baked on there really tight. So I'm just using a X-Acto blade to carefully scrape off all that old gasket. You want a really nice clean surface before you put the new ones on. So I'm just gonna take a little time and get that done. It's a tedious process, but it's gotta be done. Had these SU carbs professionally rebuilt by the guys at British Auto Works just outside of Portland, Oregon in Beaverton. They did a really nice job. Cost me about $400 to get them completely rebuilt. That was including the kit. So what we're gonna do is just slap these back on and hopefully this thing fires right up. One slight modification the mechanic did was he soldered this little butterfly closed. This is supposed to improve idling. So yeah, there's usually a little check valve right there, and that just got closed off. So I'm excited to see if that makes an improvement. Getting these carbs tossed on, I gotta say, the first time doing this was very difficult. Now I've got experience doing it probably 4 or 5 times, so it goes a lot faster. The bottom nuts are really hard to get to, but I kind of learned which way to come at it. One thing you want to make sure of is that you got these carburetors on right. There's a leading and a trailing one. You don't want to mix up the different parts inside of them either because they're different. And then you got a couple different vacuum hoses that you got to hook up, but overall this is a pretty easy job. Okay, we got the battery hooked up. It barely fit in there. All I want to do now is turn it on and let the fuel pump run for a second, and then make sure we have no leaks. So you hear the fuel pump ticking back there. It's pumping up some fuel. Oh shit, we got a fuel leak. Oh man. This one's dripping. Oh man. So something's definitely messed up because this one's overfilling, and I think it's filling up this tube or something, and it's draining out over here on this side. So now we got a gas leak. I have no clue why that's happening, but I guess all we can do is take that one off and adjust the float a little bit, make sure that 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 bottom is nice and tight. And put it back together and see if this thing fires up. I hope this video can save someone from making the same mistake that I just made. What you should do is put your carburetors on the studs and hook up your fuel line, and then turn the ignition on and let your fuel pump run, and it will pump fuel in there. And then if there's a leak, you quickly just remove them and adjust your floats. Unlike what I did, was I hooked all of the different cables up and I bolted them on, and then I found out I had this leak. So I just made my job a lot bigger. So do that and don't do what I just did. So what I'm doing here is bending the little tab on the floats up a little bit. What this is going to do is it's going to shut off the fuel a little bit sooner, and hopefully we won't have this leaking problem. So I'm going to get this finished up and we'll get them tossed back on the car, and hopefully it runs. Okay, first start. I don't think we have any leaks. We're about to find out. I think we'll just let it warm up, and then we can kind of tune those carburetors, make sure that they're in sync, and then see if it'll take some gas better. So this one's getting way more air, so we gotta balance those out. Just gonna drop in some new spark plugs, just so that we can get the tuning down. These ones are pretty fouled, I think. So we'll just toss in some new ones and then try this again. One thing I totally forgot to do was fill these caps up with oil. They take just standard SAE 30. And you need a little bit in there so that those things go up and down. And you basically want it so that when you stick this plunger down and in there, you start feeling resistance right at the end. Okay, so we lost spark, and I'm looking down here. Our connections on the coil are both down there, positive and negative. You can't really see, but I'm noticing on the side of the distributor, there's no connection on the side right there. So I think this goes right there. So we're just gonna hook this up Looks like it kind of slid off. So if that fixes it, we're gonna have to redo that connection right there. We're just gonna hook this back up. Okay, try that. Nope.
So
that's a squeaky belt.
The fan belt, or?
Yeah, that's just the belt. Okay, well, we figured out the spark issue. Inside the distributor cap, where the points and condenser are, the whole plate was able to get shifted. I don't know if something broke off in the advance or what, but I basically just moved it all the way back to the left and it started right up. So I'm gonna just kind of fine tune it. I already started to balance the carbs and they're pretty much balanced. So now we just got to bring the idle down a little bit and see if we can get this thing to smooth out, and then we'll take it for a drive. I got both of these right at 8. Perfectly balanced. Woo! That scared me. Might need to do the air mixture a little bit. Sounds pretty good though. I think this thing is ready to hit the road. Test it out. Smoke has cleaned up. No more of that. It's just sitting here idling. Yeah, it seems to be running really smooth. We'll just leave the hood a little bit open just in case. Down to the end and back maybe. Well, that was a successful test drive. Car seems to be running really well. We got a small hose over here that has a coolant leak. You can see it's just a really old hose. So I'm gonna get that removed, go get a new one of those. And then I also have a new fuel filter, so we might stick that on and get those air cleaners put back on, and then button this thing up, and it should be ready to hit the road. So just a couple more things we got to do quick. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and comment. Next video, we'll get this thing buttoned up and ready for its new life.